Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and a new edition of our online interview series. We want to get an update from First Tin PLC, and Dr. Thomas Bünger is here with us, the CEO. Good morning, Thomas. How are you?
Good morning, Jochen. I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, perfect. All fine so far. Thank you very much. And also what I have to say is and disclose, I'm a shareholder of the company, of course, and a happy shareholder, I should also say. Yeah, we are talking about tin. We talk about also indium, maybe probably in the future, some silver and copper also. But first of all, it is very important to talk about tin and to talk about Taronga, your project in Australia, which is, well advanced so far. You are developing this into a very good speed, I would say, and you are working already on the definitive feasibility study. So what was the status for the last 6 months? What were some highlights, please?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jochen. Yeah, we had a lot of activities started during the course of last year. So in particular, during the summer 2022, we started the definitive feasibility study for Taronga as well as for our German project Tellhäuser. But jumping back to Taronga, since then a lot of activities happened. So we opened the environmental impact assessment study, the 4 seasons monitoring process already in March last year, and because it's 4 seasons monitoring, it will end in March this year. Then we will proceed with putting together all the texts and the information into the study and to submit it to the authorities. We expect to do that during the course of the summer 2023. Going back down under to Australia as well. Summer last year, we started a definitive feasibility study for sure that contains a lot of investigations in regard how the future pit will look like. So we did there a lot of options studies already in order to come up with the best solution. And we do that with taking into account the actually running an active drilling program where we quite recently, so a few days ago, published first results about the drilling and the southwestern extension of the existing resource, so outside the actual existing resource statement. The results look very promising, so we expect to finalize the drilling program during the course of the next weeks and months, and then to translate it into an update of the resource statement. If we take into account the promising results from the southern extension, so the step out drilling, I expect and we hope for sure that the resource statement will mirror that and translate that in a larger resource, but we are waiting for that for the resource statement. And we do as well, like promised, a lot of investigations in regards of the future processing setup of the ore, where the results are very promising, and we are focusing very much onto the first steps, so the crushing and sorting and sieving steps. And we quite recently have seen that we are obviously in a position to upgrade, to up-concentrate the tin during the crushing process already 2 to 3 times.
Wow.
So that translates from 0.15 tin grade into a tin grade of 0.4 to 0.5, which maybe a good estimate for all and everybody is, which translates into something that is comparable to a copper head grade of 1 to 1.2%, so a substantial increase. And adjacent to that, it enables us to reject already a substantial volume part, so the non-mineral containing waste rock right at the beginning, and that enables us to shrink the back end of the plant, where hopefully we can save then as well or see some impact onto the capital cost for the investment later on. So a lot of activities in Australia. There we are on track and on plan. So we expect to finalize the definitive feasibility study, I would say, end of the year, beginning of 2024.
Super. So that's only like 1 year from here. That's fantastic. That's really fast. Yeah. Super. You have in Australia tin only, or is there also, as I said, copper silver with it? A little bit.
There is so the majority for sure. The revenue driver is the tin. So that's the headline and that's the focus. Nevertheless, there is some sulfur containing minerals as well, so a little bit of copper and a little bit of silver. By the way, that has not been taken into account as potential byproduct credits so far in the profitability calculation.
That's a joker.
That's joker. That's an upside potential. So looking onto the future product tin concentrate, it is necessary to discard the sulfur containing materials. So we require a step for that, and for sure we try to design a removal step that leads to a saleable product that contains the copper and the silver. For the time being, I expect that we will do that step successfully, and then I will then start to look for a substantial destination, for a substantial partner then where we can sell it towards. And looking back into my past, into my experience from the copper industry, so the copper industry usually has some interest and no much challenges, no much problems with treating copper silver containing concentrates.
Okay, super. What I find also really interesting is that you won an award of approximately 500,000 Australian dollars from the New South Wales Critical Minerals and High-Tech Metals Activation Fund. So that's a strong sign of support, I would say, isn't it?
Yeah, we are very thankful to the New South Wales government that they signed off really our application for the funding. And the fund that we won covers two topics. One topic is a mine, and in particular a processing plant is a large energy consumer, in particular electricity. And we check and investigate how a renewable energy generating setup, so a combination of solar panels, maybe windmills, as well as a storage facility, maybe a battery, can look like in order to supply, I would expect, the majority of the energy consumption of the plant from that renewable energy generation unit. So that's one part of the investigation. And the other topic is for sure as well, New South Wales is interested into to enable and to interest parties and companies to elongate the value chain. So not only to do mining and concentrating, but as well maybe smelting and refining. So that part of the study, we do a scoping study for how a smelter and refiner could potentially look like, where that should be situated. And as well, we are looking around because as well as smelter and refiner needs a decent size. So we are looking around as well. Could there be other suppliers to that smelter and refiner too? So that's the two topics we are looking on that. And once more, we are very thankful. And that's a great opportunity for us as well to do that kind of investigation supported by the New South Wales funding, by the New South Wales government.
Yeah, fantastic. No, it's always good to have the support from the authorities, especially when we talk about environmental stuff, which is always critical in every part of the world. And that's fantastic for you guys. No, I'm really happy on that. Let's come shortly back to Tellhäuser in Germany. As I visited Tellhäuser last year, and I really liked what I saw. The drills are turning there. You are working there. And I saw also the CapEx is like $49-50 million. Maybe it will be through the inflation scenario we saw the last 12-18 months is a little bit more, but I think this is absolutely makeable. So that's the smaller project. Taronga is the big one. So what's the status there? Just a short comment on that, please.
So as well for Tellhäuser, we started the definitive feasibility study during the course of the summer last year. We awarded it to DMT, a German engineering company, very used to mining business and very busy there as well on international scale. We started the drilling program autumn last year, so the drilling program is ongoing and will take as well still a good part of 2023 before we end that, due to the reason that the resource is by far deeper. So we are talking there drilling holes 800, 900 meters deep to the lower part, to the deeper part of the ore body. We as well started for Tellhäuser the permitting application. So we are in a step that is called in the German legislation environmental impact assessment pre-checked. It decides in what direction then the construction and operational permit process will go to. There we are in the last steps of the check. So I expect that within the coming weeks to receive the decision from the authorities, and then we prepared in parallel already the next documentation for the constructional permitting application. So we will then submit immediately after the receival of the environmental part. We will immediately submit then the constructional permit, and I expect that the whole process will take at least minimum the rest of the year 2023. So I expect a permit for construction operation end of 2023, beginning of 2024. So another year before we are then in a position to start then with the construction. And in parallel, we do the definitive feasibility study. So that should end roughly at the same time. So enabling us to start, but as well to finalize then the project financing to sign that as well off with the necessary partners.
Yeah, makes maybe sense to the financing first and then start construction.
The one is an enabler, the other one is a necessary.
Yeah, exactly. No, perfect. No, it sounds like a fantastic game plan, absolutely. And I know why I'm a shareholder. Of course, tin is a really critical metal, and there are not that many primary tin mines in the world. How do you see for the next 2-3 years the markets in tin? Because the price was very shaky. It went down from over $55,000 down, I think, to $16,000-18,000 a ton. Then it went back up last year to $32,000. Now it's going a little bit sideways, below 30,000. But how do you see it? How do you see supply demand? Who are the largest producers?
So I'm personally remain absolutely bullish about tin and tin demand. So I see that we are running into a wall of demand, taking into account the worldwide push for the energy transition. So to produce equipment for renewable energy generation, like PV panels or windmills. So those are big demand drivers. And the third one is the electromobility. And there I see really a turn in the industry. So all the big OEMs now coming up with they're changing their portfolio towards electromobility. And that's the demand driver. If we look short term, I would say, let's look how Chinese will perform after their return from the Chinese New Year, which happened during the course of the last days. So I expect then further information. So let's wait for the statistics of February, March. Maybe that's then more reliable than what we hear every day from the news. Basically, the tin market actually is very stressed. So where we have substantial social unrest in Peru, and that disturbs not only the pipeline for the big commodities like copper, but as well the major tin producer in Peru is in shutdown. To give you a figure, that producer alone is good for about 10% of the world's tin supply into the pipeline. So that's one weak point. There is a second weak point. The Indonesian government is going on to discuss a ban of tin exports. And if Indonesia is good for maybe 30 to 40%, Peru for about 10%, the two together, they are the major supplier for the rest of the world, while the Chinese tin production is usually consumed locally within China. So there is not much export. And if the two major tin providers to the world market are under stress, that provides a substantial uncertainty, even on short term, to the tin supply pipeline. If we look a little bit further midterm, so we are in a perfect position in the steep increase of the tin demand with our plans to put both of the mines, so the Toranga project, later on Toranga mine, as well as Tellhäuser during 2025 into production. So I see there a very, very good perspective for first tin.
Absolutely. I see it the same way. Thomas, thank you very much for the update. Looks all fantastic. Please keep us posted. And I have a very good feeling then within 1 year, hopefully you have both DFS studies and get it financed. And please build the mines and go in production because the world needs your tin.
Thanks a lot, Jochen. It was a pleasure to talk to you and to update our investors.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Also a pleasure talking to you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Thomas Bünger, the CEO of First Tin PLC. And you heard it. It is really, really a critical metal. I would say a super critical metal if you look in the next 2-3 years, because the world production is in the hands of 2-3 countries and some companies, but the demand is rising and rising and rising due to the renewable energy system, but also due to the EV revolution, which is going on and unstoppable. So First Tin is really on track, on path, is financed. That is also really important into the DFS and to really finish that. And then they do their project finance. And please don't forget, we talk for both projects approximately about $140 million for both projects, if I already take some inflation here in count. And I think this is for mining projects of that size and that profitability, really not much money. So I'm very, very confident that they will make it. This is why I'm a shareholder. You really should check out the company. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.